Art is a truly global language that can change our perceptions about the world we live in. In our lineup today, dancing with disability in China. The circus comes to town in Brazil.
Don't emulate, don't fabricate, just do your thing.
And a new beat from the street in Tanzania.
Hello and welcome to Arts World. I'm Mona Ibellini. I'm here in the West Bank town of Jenin to visit a man who is an icon of the Palestinian Intifada. Zakariyya Zubeidi once led the militant gunmen of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigades and has been on Israel's most wanted list for years. He now believes that theatre is an important way to fight for a Palestinian statehood. So he's given up his guns and helps run a theatre school. I've come here to find out more.
Zakariyya Zubeidi is a 35-year-old Palestinian who grew up in the Jenin refugee camp.
One of my first poignant memories in life was waking up in a hospital with a bullet wound when I was 13 and a half. At 14, I was imprisoned. With its invasions, tanks, and explosives, the occupation destroyed our childhood. Now, the Freedom Theater is giving that childhood back by allowing youth to develop a different narrative. The Freedom Theater is an umbrella for everyone. I'm the head of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade, but when I walk in that gate, I become Zakariyya Zubeidi, a member of the Freedom Theater. Our old theater was built by my parents and Arna Merkhamis. Arna gave us art lessons in the street until my father invited her to come in and use the roof of our house. That's how Jenin's first children's theater was founded.
Arna Merkhamis was an Israeli woman who taught Zakariyya and his friends acting skills. But as the war dragged on, the teenagers became soldiers and the theater was forgotten. After years of fighting, many of Zakariyya's childhood friends are dead, and he wants this generation of kids to have better prospects.
Instead of playing on the streets like I used to, the kids of the Jenin camp now have a place to go.
I'm performing for those who had their houses bulldozed, kids whose mothers and fathers have been killed. Through the theater, I give them moments of laughter and joy. That makes me very happy.
After the Battle of Jenin in 2002, Zakariyya took over from his parents as the host of the theater. And Giuliano, Arna's son, took over where his mother left off.
I'm very happy that Zakariyya went in this way and decided to put down the weapons and join the Freedom Theater.
Because he is still considered a militant by many, Zakariyya is not formally involved in the theater.
He supports us from that up of the mountain, protecting us, giving us the legitimacy to be here. There are Jews, there are Muslims here, Christians, Americans, sometimes Israelis. In Jenin refugee camp, the most attacked camp in Palestine, this is a phenomenon which is being led by Zakariyya Zubeidi. Arts cannot free you from your chains. Art can generate and mobilize discourse of freedom. Art can create debates. Art can expose.
The Freedom Theater is a social oasis. Here, boys and girls can gather in an otherwise gender-segregated community to act and play together.
In my sketch, I'm trying to get the message across that no matter what the Palestinian girl does, she will be monitored. I love being in the theater because it gives me a stage to express my thoughts and feelings.
Movement therapist Petra Barghouti says that while acting is socially taboo in much of Palestinian society, talking about psychological troubles is even more frowned upon.
In general, in the culture, if you have any kind of psychological problems, you hide it because it's shame. But now they ask for help, and this is wonderful. This is the first step towards healthy environment or healthy community.
Our next report comes from China, where over 18 million people have a disability. That's more than 6% of the total population. The Disabled People's Performing Art Troupe was established in 1987. Starting off as an amateur dance troupe, it has gone on to claim commercial success both at home and abroad.
Off stage, silent synchronicity. On stage, disability leads to discovery.
I feel that dance is something I can see. It's a language that lets me express my inner world. I have lost my hearing, but I have a very healthy body. I can use my body to express every word I want to say from deep within my heart through dance.
Tai Li Hua is the lead dancer of the China Disabled People's Performing Arts Troupe, as well as its artistic director.
The troupe's a very good platform for disabled people who have a passion for a career in special performance. Here, they have an equal opportunity to participate in any art form that they're interested in and to experience the beauty of their disability, using a special form of art to express human love.
The group has moved audiences in more than 50 countries. It includes some 100 performers, the youngest of whom is 10-year-old Wang Yimei. Like the majority of the ensemble, she is hearing impaired, but makes up for her disability with a deep dedication to dancing.
Since she came here, she is always in a state of euphoria. She has experienced things she never saw back home, so she is always in a state of excitement.
The troupe was born more than 20 years ago, with a mission to provide young disabled Chinese a vehicle to develop new talents. But in 2002, it abandoned its amateur status and turned professional. While the group's members admit a history of discrimination continues to haunt many of China's 80 million people with disabilities, they say their tightly knit community has given them a renewed sense of pride and purpose.
The people in our troupe come from all over China, but we are like a big family. We help each other. When I go for my meals, the deaf-mute children will help me get my food. When we go out, we have blind people who cannot see at all. I can see, so I help them. They will put their hands over my shoulder and I will take them out to buy things to eat and so on.
Huang Yangguang lost both of his arms to electric shock when he was 5 years old.
After I lost both arms, I trained myself to use both feet to do things, such as brushing my teeth, washing my face, writing and drawing. When I joined the China Disabled People's Performing Art Troupe, dancing was a big challenge for me. I had never danced before and had never been in contact with music. It was difficult for me to learn the steps in dancing and to cope with the tempo of the music.
The latest challenge facing the troupe has nothing to do with learning to dance, but on figuring out what to do with its first ever guide dog, Yo-Yo. Flutist Mao Di had his first lesson with Yo-Yo on the streets of Beijing.
When we were performing overseas, we came across guide dogs, and we were very envious. When we found out that China has guide dogs, we were excited. But having a guide dog in China is still something very new. It might not be readily accepted by the people on the outside. The assessment today is to find out if we are qualified to lead a guide dog. This includes family environment, living conditions, how we move around. As to which one of us will own this dog, we still don't know. It's fate. The owner wants to pick the dog, but the dog also gets to pick its owner.
With the release of a film about the disabled troupe, along with high-profile performances during the Beijing Olympics, worldwide interest in the group seems poised to surge. But members say, despite their growing fame, they do not consider themselves superstars.
They're not angels. They're just like ordinary kids, the same as any other kids. They like to play, they like to bicker amongst themselves, but they all live together like one big family. That's because they have a very positive heart to face whatever's coming along.
We'll take a short break for now, but when we return, we meet a man in Brazil who's giving children the chance to make it big in the circus. And we catch up with a beat from the street in Tanzania. Join us again after the break. Welcome back to Arts World. The children of Jenin are certainly benefiting from the theatre in so many ways. We now travel to Brazil to meet another set of children who are getting the chance to perform.
In the Brazilian city of Salvador da Bahia, the circus has become much more than entertainment. The big top of Circus Piccolino is as close as many of these young people will get to a classroom. But the lessons learned here are transforming lives. This circus school and its traveling circus offer the discipline of training and the magic of performing. It's a balance many would be denied were it not for this man. Anselmo Serrat has been running the circus school since 1985.
We had a circus company, and at the end of each show, kids wanted to participate. So the school was created by demand from kids. It started up small, and after 23 years has become what it is now.
And what it is now is the place where hundreds of Salvador's poorest kids come to test their limits and break their fears, with the idea that perhaps they can become the next great circus performer. Many of the kids are orphans. All of them come from some of Salvador's poorest families, like Barbara and Jorge.
My mom likes to come to the class, but she's afraid I'm going to fall. I tell her, don't worry, I won't fall.
Every day, Barbara and Jorge come home to a one-room house they share with their mom and older sister.
E aqui é como onde minha irmã dorme, com minha sobrinha. E aqui é o chão onde a gente se deita também. Senta. Deita também.
É, deita, senta, levanta, deita. Só tem uma cadeirinha. Se puder ajudar,
uma cadeira.
Twice a week, they're able to enter into the world of Circus Piccolino.
Além de que o circo, né, ele fascina.
The circus fascinates the kids, and as they enter into the exercises, their potential is awakening in an unconscious way. They find that there is an important place for them in this world.
It's not really a surprise such an arts program would sprout from Salvador da Bahia, as the city is rich in art and culture, specifically influenced by African Brazilian heritage. Salvador da Bahia was Brazil's first capital city and the first point of entry for slaves from Africa into South America. It's now the city with the most people traceable to African heritage in all of Latin America, with 85% of the population being black. Many of the kids who start out young quickly have goals of working up to be part of the traveling show and making the circus a career. People like Cristiane Santos da Silva, After 7 years of training in the Circus Piccolino, she can do things like this with her body. Cristiani was born into a broken family before she was introduced to the Circus Piccolino when she was 18 years old and facing a dead end in life.
I used to clean car windows on a corner in Salvador. Through a social project, I entered the circus.
She is now a circus instructor and part of Piccolino's traveling show.
I really love it because it has given me the opportunity to be educated, to get off the streets. I have to hold on to this opportunity.
It's a Friday night in Santo Amaro, Brazil, a small, poor town of a few thousand people in Bahia state. Circus Piccolino is in town for a 2-night performance. Anxious kids and their parents line up outside, waiting for the doors to open to grab the best seats. Admission is free. Backstage, Cristiani and others are putting on their final touches. They help each other since there is no budget for a makeup person. The doors open, and within minutes, the small theater is packed. And the performance starts. It's an impressive show, mixing comedy, agility, and balance. And long after the applause ends, the performers of Circus Piccolino will continue to exhibit that balance, no matter what life throws at them.
A hip new beat is emerging from the streets of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. It's a music phenomenon known as bongo flavor, a mix of rap, hip-hop and rhythm and blues. The music often has a political and social message and is the best-selling pop music in East Africa today.
A new sound coming from the shores of the Indian Ocean is making waves throughout the region. Here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania's biggest city, bongo flavor is the beat from the street and the rhythm of the times.
Bongo is a nickname for Tanzania. So when you say bongo flavor, that means that something came from Tanzania.
The heavyweight.
So whether it's R&B, whether it's hip-hop, whether it's reggae, as far as it is in Swahili, that we call it bongo flavor.
This East African musical fusion is proving a hit with the young generation.
I sell lots of CDs every day. Everyone is buying CDs, especially young people.
Amid a setting of American-style graffiti, young men in Dar es Salaam flock to open mic concerts where they all get a chance to perform. It may be in Swahili, but their influence is clearly from the hip-hop culture of America.
We were not interested in not only in the music, but also the way that people looks, and like the way they looks, we think maybe we look like them.
A change of government in the mid-1990s saw a move towards a more Western lifestyle after 3 decades of communism, and as the politics changed, so did the music.
Saleh Jabri, and I remember he translated 2 songs, was ISS Baby and LPP. He used the same melody, the same tone, the same style, but instead of using English, he was using Swahili.
The new openness also inspired many young artists to start coming up with their own ideas and expressing the reality of their situation.
And I remember like Mr. Too Proud, he came in 1994, the same time, and his lyrics, when you listen to him, was different. Now he was talking directly about government, he was talking about police, he was talking about police brutality, he was talking about distribution deals, he was talking about hardship life in the village, he was talking about religion.
This time of political change also saw the emergence of privately owned radio and television stations. These stations provided a platform for local artists seeking expression. Clouds FM is one such station, very popular with young Tanzanians. Fatima is one of its rising stars. She produces a weekly show on bongo flavor music.
Nowadays, everybody's listening to bongo music. Like you have seen, we have 3 hours show and strictly bongo. So it's growing up and it's becoming something big.
Fatima's guest this week is Nakaya, a bongo flavor artist. Her recent chart-topping song called Mr. Politician has won her fans across East Africa.
It was one of the most challenging singles for me to release, and not a lot of people were supporting the fact that I was trying to release this song.
Mr. Politician became an instant hit with its lyrics feeding into a Tanzanian youth fed up with unfulfilled promises from the government. Ironically, a few weeks after the song was released, the Tanzanian Prime Minister resigned following a political crisis.
So my song came out, and after a few weeks, that scandal happened. So it was right on point, you know. I don't even have to explain that to a lot of Tanzanians because it was there on point. Am I lying? No. It's there. It's true. Look for yourself. I was on point.
Nakaya is recording her next hit in this modest studio. It's a converted shipment container. It may lack sophistication, but from such a makeshift studio comes an authentic voice of the young generation, which is what bongo flavor is all about. And despite the hardships and the humble surroundings, bongo flavor artists dream big.
I want to see a bongo flavor artist doing the Billboard charts. I want to see a bongo flavor artist being nominated for a Grammy.
But some music insiders are worried that bongo flavor is starting to focus too much on materialism and is losing the very street edge that defined it.
So at the end of the day, it's kind of like the hip hop is kind of like losing the true essence. Like you talk about something which you don't have. You talk about, okay, I've been to the club. You're talking about having a nice life. You're talking about driving Mercedes, but you don't have even a bicycle. You know. So at the end of the day, it's like you're contradicting yourself. Don't imitate, don't emulate, don't fabricate, just do your thing.
That's it from Jenin and the children of the Freedom Theatre. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Join us again for another episode of Arts World.